Ready, Chitra?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this exciting book launch of Beyond the Grey Line by Niladri Shekhar Mitra. It's a short story collection and it is being published by Ukiyoto Publishing House. So, on behalf of the Creative Circle, I welcome all the viewers to this book launch. There's going to be lots of exciting games, giveaways, and trivia about the book. So, stay tuned till the end of this event. First, I'd like to share my screen. Can all of you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let us first know about our author. You have all seen Niladri, known about Niladri from our previous sessions where we hear him narrate his excellent short stories, poetry, but a little more about him. Niladri Shekhar Mitra is a best-selling author, poet, editor, and entrepreneur from Kolkata, India. Niladri's writing credits include the poetry collection Songs of Dusk, the short story collection Beyond the Grey Line, and the novel Letters of Nine. Niladri has also contributed articles to various publications and has written columns for several top websites. He recently received recognition from NE8X in the form of the Tagore Commemorative Award and Sahitya Kosh Samman. He has also appeared on popular podcasts and radio shows like Author's Cafe, Reading the Author. Apart from writing, Niladri also runs his own editorial service and has worked with some best-selling authors for books that have gone on to win international recognition. So, Niladri, how does it feel to have Beyond the Grey Line released finally? I mean, it has been accepted by traditional publishing house, but last year you had worked on this book and had released it as an ebook. So how was the reception then, and what made you decide to pitch it to a traditional publisher? Why do you think that these stories needed to come out on a wider scale?
First of all, when I started writing this book, I never started writing it with the thought of publication. I didn't know what I was doing because I think, as many of you who know me, I think you would know I have a fascination with time, and I love writing horror or supernatural, but not the kind of horror that that jumps out at you, but something that's more subtle, the implied horror, as you say, that the horror is in the implication of it, what the characters are going through or what they might go through if a certain situation develops. So I had this idea of a few stories, that 5 or 6 stories that I wrote, in a span of 5 or 6 days. I was writing one story every day, and so I wrote those 5-6 stories, and then I thought, okay, I want to publish it. Then that thought came into my mind after I'd written the first 6 or 7 stories. The question was how many stories I wanted to have. I don't know how I came up to the number of 12, but I just thought a dozen is good. Let's not bore people with more than that. So I had 12 stories. I just sort of, did a bit of promotion and I self-published it, as is the case usually, with the self-published authors. We published it, and the reception was quite good. Actually, I wasn't expecting it to be received well, but I did not get any bad reviews, which is kind of nice. But I also had a few people point out a few things, and I'm all for constructive criticism. I like positive feedback, so I love that. The reception was good, and the book did, it ran its course. But then what happened is that because I got those feedbacks, I went back and incorporated those. I wanted to, and I did that. The only thing that I wasn't happy with is the distribution, because it only came out as an ebook. I wanted a paperback. But again, as it happened with the paperback of Letters of Nine, if you publish it through a POD platform, it gets only circulated only in India. So I wanted it to have a worldwide release in paperback. So I was approached by Ukiyoto, I think, just as I was publishing Beyond the Grey. But at that time, I turned them down. So I went back to them, and they were kind enough to accept the manuscript, and they published it, and it's out now. So it's run as it happened with Letters of Nine. I mean, someone asked me a couple of days back that why relaunch two books back to back? Why not bring out a new title? The honest answer to that is I don't have a new book at this point of time. I'm planning to release a poetry collection in February, Chandrayan, for you. But it's being released in February, so you can understand it's going to be mostly romantic. I'm sorry, but I don't have a new book, and there's a novel that I'm working on, and I have no idea how long that's going to take. Maybe by next NaNoWriMo, I'll be able to, but I have no idea how long it's going to take. So I just thought there's no problem in relaunching a book. For any author, you're the owner of your content, and if you want your content to reach a wider spectrum of people, there is no harm in relaunching your book. Maybe one, maybe two. If you have 10 books that you have published and you want to relaunch 10 of them consecutively, you can do that. Who's going to stop you? So that's how it is.
So that's great that you've decided to relaunch it, because these are certainly stories that need to reach a wider audience. A little more about Beyond the Grey Line. So Beyond the Grey Line is a collection of short stories that explores different aspects of time and the supernatural. Each story offers a challenging narrative and an ambiguous twist ending that will leave the reader making conclusions of their own. Another underlying theme of the book is psychology and an examination of the intricacies and complexities of the human mind. This is all about the book, but no book is complete without a trailer. So what I'm going to do is allow Niladri to be host for some time and play you the trailer himself. Please do the honors.
Yep. Audible?
Yes, it's audible. Yes, audible. Yes.
That's it. That was a trailer.
That was a fantastic trailer, guys. What do you think?
It was brilliant.
Yeah, wow.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank
Would you
you.
like to elaborate on the themes that you have explored in the book, Niladri?
Okay. So as I said, I am greatly fascinated by the concept of time. Not completely because I'm a Christopher Nolan fan, but maybe a little bit. And Lee's got a smile.
Yeah, I saw that in that part of those buildings, one on top of the other, like Inception. Yeah.
Inception, yes, yes. So, but no, in all seriousness, I like exploring the concept of time. The subjectivity of it, the way it flows, and the way it's different for everyone. I always give an example of two people sitting on a bench outside a doctor's chamber. The one person is fiddling with his phone, playing a game perhaps, and the other person is just sitting idle. The time is moving differently for both these people, even though they're sitting at the same place, waiting for the same thing to go in and see the doctor. But because this person is doing something on his phone, time is flowing a little bit faster for this person than the person who's sitting idle. So I really love that concept and that analogy. So that I wanted to explore the concept of time through some stories. And then again, as I said, supernatural. I am a huge horror fan, to watch movies, to read books. And there's a saying that you write what you want to read. So another thing I've noticed, I'm not saying in all, but in few of the horror stories that I've read, or at least the horror stories that I've read leading up to writing Beyond the Grey Line, that a lot of them depended on jump scares, heavily inspired by the movies that come out. And I'm not a fan of that, because you ask anybody who's seen a fair number of horror movies or read a fair number of horror novels, they would know, they would have an idea where a jump scare would come in. And so the effect of it gets lessened. But I feel it's more scary if the implication, if the horror is in the implication. You know, if it's subtle, if it's just implied, and the reader has to think of, okay, what might have happened. So I wanted to write a few stories in with that theme, and also experiment a bit, because usually what we write is simple first person narrative or third person. Um, I wanted to go a bit non-linear. That I've done with the first story of the book, Hole in the Wall. Want to write something abstract that makes sense, but you have to really invest your brain, and that's there in Mariam. So those were the main things that that I thought of exploring, that I wanted to examine, and hopefully I've done that. I'm not sure for you guys to tell. Some of you might have read the book, like Suman has read the book, Chandran has read the book, Preeti also has, so you would know better, but I've tried my best.
I'm sure you have done your best, because like when I read the book last year, I thought it was brilliant, and it was the first work that I'd ever read from you, and
Yeah.
I thought the stories were absolutely brilliant, and I made the mistake of reading them at night. So you can imagine my state next morning. So, okay, so let's ask some of our guests here what they think about you and your writing. So we are going to start from PB Flower, Suman. So a little introduction about her. PB Flower is an author of the trilogy All Kal None. She's originally from India, and she migrated to the US about 23 years ago. PB recently moved to the Nashville area after living 10 years in Dallas, TX. Nashville's rolling hills have been inspiring in bringing PB's dream of writing to fruition. PB has always been intrigued by the creation. In her writing, she tries to put her understanding of the world around us. It has a romantic spin to it to keep things grounded. PB's husband introduced her to UG Krishnamurti's way of life. You can check out her YouTube videos, they're excellent. That got her researching the mysteries of Upanishad in connection to the creation, and so she strives to give her readers exciting science fiction stories blending in her two interests, romance and universe.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Chitra. I'm so glad to be here today. And yes, I read the book by Niladri, the Beyond the Grey Lines, and it was just beautiful set of stories there. And I know there is a supernatural twist to it. And like he said, a subtle horror in there too. But for me, the draw was the science fiction part of it. And of course, there is a little bit of romance in there with the blind date story. I love that story too. I actually loved all of them, but of course, you have to pick your favorite sometimes. And I think Man in Time, I loved that one. Prisoner 969 was also great. It had emotions in there, a lot of emotions in there. And I love the way Niladri writes it, even with few words, he's able to pull in so many emotions in there. And like he said, it's all about perspective when it comes to time. And I love that, how he has pulled that in, because time does flow differently when it just depends on your perspective. And I love how he has pulled that in his stories. And I'm honored to be here today, and honored to have read his work. And I hope I can get a copy for myself, a paperback, because I've read it as an ebook. So I'm so glad. Congratulations, Niladri.
Thank you, Suman. Thank you. And you're quite right. Uh, writing Man in Time, I think it was the toughest story to write because when I was writing it, I thought it would go on to have it would be like a novel or something, 30,000 words or something. I really doubted whether I can finish it within 7,000 words, but I did. So that's I don't know how I pulled that off, but I'm happy I did. But I want to add something here. Okay, Suman said I know why Suman liked the sci-fi aspect of it and the sci-fi and romance aspect of it, because I am editing a book right now, and it has sci-fi and romance in plentiful. Your book, and there's something I want to say about Suman, or rather about Suman's writing, or PB Flowers' writing, not Suman's writing, PB Flowers' writing. I have not edited a book with better world building than her book. I mean, the world building of that book is amazing. I'm editing it. When I was reading the first draft. Now she has sent me a revised draft. But as I was reading the first draft, I was like, it would take me 10 years to have to do world building like this. I mean, it's amazing how many characters her story has, and the way she has etched out the characters, the different mythos about all it's amazing. I mean, George R. R. Martin would be proud of Baby Flower.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Although today is about you, but thank you. Thank you for bringing me up.
No, because it's a fact. It's amazing. That's why I'm taking a lot of time editing a book. I mean, Suman might, kill me in a month. She might, put out a hit on me. I don't know. But I'm taking a lot of time because it's really difficult editing a book. Because I have to edit maybe half a page and then go back, think, okay, this was this, and this is this. It's like a lot of mythos and backstories. And Suman, your book is more than a trilogy. Trust me.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm very patient, by the way, but only with you. Only with you.
Thank you for that, because you have to be.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Suman, for those lovely words. And now moving on, we have our next speaker as Shalini Ranjan. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Shalini Ranjan developed a passion for writing during her teens. An ardent science fiction reader herself, she has a flair for writing stories with a twist. So there you go, Niladri. She's lucky to be married to the man of her dreams, whom she met on a train while pursuing her MBA from MICA. She works as a consultant with one of the big fours, and when she's not giving wings to her imagination, she indulges in playing make-believe superheroes, chasing down villains with her two munchkins. If I Hadn't Met You is Shalini's first published book. Oh, by the way, the paperback is out now. You can go get it. Although she has been writing fiction for more than a decade. Her work has been appreciated in Hindustan Times Teens when she used to write as a teen. She has a huge fan base at indiaforums.com where she writes under the alias of Twister Girl. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. In recent times, she has been one of the top writers in storymirror.com and momspresso.com.
I didn't know that either. Shalini, you got to
talk about Shalini. So Shalini, how you have been acquainted with Niladri's writing for quite some time now. So you've read Letters of Nine, and I think you've also read Beyond the Grey Line, Songs of Dusk. So how do you find him as a writer?
So I would say, if there is, if I have to summarize in one line, I would say that Niladri is a master at writing gripping psychological thrillers. No doubt about it. Which is why if anyone is picking his book, you have to pick it up on a weekend so that you can do justice to your schedule as well. So the first book I read was Letters of Nine. It was after I joined the creative circle, but I was so inspired that I started Googling if he has more books, and I was so happy when I found there is another book, Beyond the Grey Line. And what I loved about that book is that each story takes you to a different horizon and it leaves you wanting more. I didn't want the book to end. And I can't tell you, I was so sad that there are no more stories. And while I was watching the trailer, I noticed that, there are 12 stories and there are 12 hands in the clock. So probably there is a correlation as well that, that does, that, didn't come out when I was reading it. So about the story, I think, so it's been like, I think a couple of months that I read it. And what I remember is that each story, it challenges you, as a reader. And the narration is so beautiful that you could almost visualize it playing out, on a big screen, like at the back of your mind with your favorite characters, favorite cast. So, and moreover, in most of the stories, Niladri simply changes your perspective, and he throws a monkey wrench towards the middle or the end. I remember when I was like one story that stuck with me, Prisoner 969. It has a twist that you never see coming, and I have read so many stories, like really so many stories, and I was like still, wow. So you have to give it a shot if you have a flair for reading science fiction books or mystery books or something different. You have to read it. And moreover, each of these short stories, I felt they could be converted to a full-fledged novel. And I will wait for the day when Niladri would explore more each of these stories and spend more time and give us more to read about them. So it's that good.
Shalini, you should have told me this thing about the 12 hands of the clock before. Yeah, I could have incorporated what I was saying. That's why I wrote 12 stories. I just said, I didn't know why I wrote 12. I just said that. That is why I wrote 12 stories. It's about time, and the clock has 12 hands.
Yeah. It's never too late, Niladri.
You should have WhatsApp me. You should have done something. But yeah, thank you very much. And the thing about you said about challenging the reader, I like to do that. I like to be challenged when I'm reading a book. I don't like an author spoon feeding you everything, taking holding my finger and taking me from point A to point B to point C. It was the point of it. I like stories in general, not only in books but in movies also. Again, that's why a movie or a story, that challenges you, that makes you think, okay, what would the conclusion be? That makes you, create your own conclusion after the story has been told. I like doing that, and that's why I enjoy Lee's writing.
Right.
He does that, and I enjoy that.
Okay, thank you, Shalini. Well, this conversation has given me the idea for the first question of the giveaway. So there are going to be 5 questions, and those who answer the most number of questions will win a signed
I have no idea what the questions are. I have no idea. Can I participate?
Yeah, sure. But it's questions about you. So you
the
know
questions are about you, so you'll be knowing. Come on. Okay, so the first question is...
I may know the answers. I don't know the question. So if the question comes at me suddenly,
yeah.
There are some questions that will come at you suddenly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you're supposed to control your expressions, maybe turn off your video. Okay, so what is the name of Niladri's first book? First ever written book. So raise your hands like from the bar, emoticons bar, and then I'll give you a turn. There are emoticon bars. Okay, Chandrayan knows. So, okay, first Chandrayan, Sambit knows. Dushan obviously knows. Okay, so let's ask Chandrayan.
Letters of 9.
Wrong.
Oh.
Wrong?
Yeah. Okay, Sambit.
Okay, I also thought it's Letters of 9. So
Shalini.
Songs of Dusk.
Wrong. Priti. Beyond the Grey Line. Okay, Sambit, Chandra, you want to go again?
Anybody wants to?
Yeah, I know, he told me. I know how much important that was.
Yeah.
don't tell me it's
So
Beyond the
Danny
Grey
and
Line.
Bhushan both know. So Danny, would you like to tell the answer?
His first book that he wrote was called Autumn Leaves.
Autumn Leaves.
Yes.
It was a beautiful romance.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Spectacular.
How can we read it?
It's
Is it published? Can I read it? If it's romantic, I would read it.
It is published,
I-
but it's one book
Genre
that he
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
like to talk about. Why do you not talk about autumn leaves?
okay. Here's the thing: the concept of autumn leaves was that there were three characters based on me, this guy here, Danny, and another friend, and we thought, and I sort of conceptualized it and how we would be 20 years later. Okay, and I sort of wrote a drama, and I did a lot of drama while writing the drama. Danny knows the drama I did.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. Yeah.
But the book, according to me, is not a great book. I'm very honest about it. I mean, it was my first novel. I was, how old I was, 18 or something when I started writing it. And no excuse for that because Chandran was also the same age when he started writing the book. And that is why, Chandran, I told you that your book, first book, is much better than my first book. I was not talking about Letters of Nine, as you have been thinking for so long. I was talking about Autumn Leaves. See, the thing is, I just thought that I'll put in whatever I wanted, whatever I could into that book, into that narrative. And it doesn't work that way. So I put in a lot of difficult words, I was not really happy with how it came out. So yes, I published it through Notion Press and it's available, I think, on Flipkart and stuff, but I don't talk about it much. But that is
Niladri, I was just Google searching. I mean, it doesn't mention anywhere. It always talks of Songs of Dusk, then your Beyond the Grey Line. I mean,
It's
Letters of
available
Nine.
on Amazon and Flipkart. It was available on Flipkart, not on Amazon, but today when I searched, it was available.
Okay. Interesting.
Poor Niladri.
it's
He
been
doesn't
paying-
want anyone to read the book, and now people are gonna go and read it. Yeah.
Looks like
it's been
I'm
paid
gonna read
because
it
of
now.
no marketing. So
Okay. So now, oh, okay. Nidhi says that it's only available on notionpress.com, I guess. No, Nidhi, it's available on Flipkart and Amazon as well. I checked. So, okay. So let me just quickly share my screen and let's see
unfortunate.
what are the stories that Niladri has in the book. So 12 stories and all. And I think I missed the blind date in this video, but we didn't have a picture for that. But so yeah, so from these 12 stories, which one is your favorite, Niladri?
It's a difficult question.
Yeah, you have 12 kids and you have to choose one.
Yeah. That's a difficult proposition, having 12 kids. Chandrayaan would like to have 12 kids, not me. 12
Yes.
kids after Chandrayaan.
Yes,
For
yes,
all
I
those
would
who are
like to have
watching,
12
Chandran
kids.
absolutely adores kids. Like,
I would like to have 12 kids so that I could slowly murder each one of them.
Not good for my book promotion. Not here. Let's not go there. Sorry, Chandran. Forget I ever said anything. Danny likes kids also. He would like to have 24 of them. But whatever. So, favorite story: Man in Time for one. I love that. The Hole in the Wall. You asked me to how many should I choose? One.
yeah, I just asked you to pick one. I think you like them all for different reasons.
Yeah, I like them for just one. Man in Time. It was tough to write, and I love how it starts and where it ends.
I think you start the entire book with The Hole in the Wall, right? So that's your first story. And when I mean,
And
that's what
also
comes
the
in the
first story
Amazon
that I
preview
wrote
as well.
for the book. That's also
Sorry?
the first story that I wrote for the book. When I
Oh,
started
okay.
writing. That
Did you
was the
write them all
first story.
sequentially?
I did not write it sequentially, but that was the first story that I wrote for.
Okay. So that's the first thing that the reader actually picks up from the Amazon preview, and then it like hits them like this. So speaking of hitting them like this, there is one person who downloaded your book today and has started reading it. So that's Samvit, and he has found it really intriguing. So let's know a little more
Samvit's
about.
hand is still raised.
So let's know a little more about Samvit before we come to him. Samvit Das Patnaik is the best-selling sci-fi author of the book The Last War and Other Stories. It was recently trending, which is his debut book. Samvit is a sci-fi author. His interests are in ancient aliens, mythology, historical fantasy, and space travel. His writing interest started from a young age. Samvit is also an artist. He started painting from childhood and won many prizes in painting competitions. Samvit is a software professional working in a leading MNC and resides with his family at Hyderabad, India. Rarely do we see an Indian author dealing with the science fiction genre intertwined with mythology and advanced technology used in our ancient past. And these books, he has won many awards during his writing journey. So, Samvit, please do share how you felt reading the initial portions of Beyond the Grey Line and how you acquainted with Niladri and his writing style.
Okay, so to be honest, this is the first time I'm reading Niladri's book. I had downloaded Letters of Nine much earlier, but then for some reasons, like maybe because of my busy schedule, and I was already reading other books, so I didn't really pick it up.
Let's give a talk.
Is there? I mean, is there in my to be read list? So when I heard about the Beyond the Grey Line, so I just thought let me first download it and let me have a go at it. And I really want to attend this session and want to interact with Niladri, especially about his new book. And of course, I didn't know about this book, as I told in the beginning. So I downloaded and I just started reading a few. I mean, just want to get a feel at what exactly it's about. I read its introduction and all that, and I really got into it. I mean, I finished the first story and I'm now in the second one. So when I read The Hole in the Wall, I was like, the first thing, I mean, I could just totally visualize the whole thing happening in front of me. So first thing that came to mind was like the way Niladri writes in a very short, in a very lucid manner. A reader can really so well connect with it. He can actually imagine the whole thing happening in front of him like a movie. That is how I felt when I read this first way. And I think you have got 12 stories. It can very well become like 12 episodes in a TV serial or something. I'm sure about it. I'm very confident it will come out with very good. And I think maybe you love. Sorry, Niladri?
Netflix, here I come.
Absolutely. I think Netflix would definitely take your kind of stories. I mean, really gets into a bit of a dark side. Yeah, so that is something that just picked me. The other thing is that when I started off with this second story, and especially that the discussion between the grandma and they're going a different timeline, and then I see that they're aliens, then I got really interested.
Don't go into spoilers, please.
Okay, I won't do that. I won't get in that. I haven't read further, so I'm just there kind of, and I'm now like really looking forward to finish this book at the earliest. And as Shalini was saying, that once you pick up Niladri's book, you cannot drop it. So I'm going to utilize my weekend. I have changed my plans, other schedules. I want to finish the book first, as at the earliest, and I will also be giving you a review for that, Niladri, for sure. I really loved it, the way you write.
Thank you, Samvit. I'm really looking forward to Samvit's feedback. The Samvit writes amazing sci-fi stories. If I think most of us have read Samvit's book by now, The Last War, and if anyone hasn't, and please also to the viewers and whoever's watching, please go and buy The Last War and Other Stories by Samvit Das Patnaik. It is amazing. What I loved I'll tell you something I loved about Samvit's book, and I thought I should have done something like this for Beyond the Grey Line and for Man in Time. As I said, Man in Time was a story that I had to condense. But what Samvit did was that the main story that he has, The Last Word, he didn't condense it. He just wrote it as it needed to be. And then he wrote a few short stories to accompany that. And that was a brilliant idea because it gives you the feel of reading a novel as well as a few snippets and short stories at the same time. And without ever diverting your attention from the genre. And there was one story. I'm bad with names and titles. I'm forgetting the title, but there was one story that I loved even more than the last one, the main story. And that was so well written. I think this, if you're expanded on that, I think you have become two great stories in one book. So Sambit's sci-fi writing is, I think, among the TCC authors, at least the authors that we have in the creative circle, is up there. So
Sure. Thank you so much, Niladri, for the
and
kind words.
especially with his knowledge and what he knows about aliens and stuff, and the way he writes, even in
It's not just sci-fi, it's mythology as well. So combining these two very diverse genres is very difficult.
When somebody started talking about crossroads, I'm really scared because for Sambit to read a story like that, I mean, I'm waiting for somebody to call me and say, "What have you written?" It's not like that.
No way, Niladri. In fact, when I'm reading it, I'm really enjoying it. And before this, there was a discussion around time, because we always talk about time as, we talk about the theory of relativity, we talk about that time depends on gravity, on light and stuff like that, and different galaxies moving in different time frames. Sometimes time is slow, time is faster. As you move towards the center of the galaxy, the speed of, the way the time travels is very different. So that's why, the center of the galaxy, we see that time is something which is moving like a fast forward in the planet Earth. So you are giving a different perspective of time. And I'm really itching to read that. There's a different way of looking at things. We're sitting in the same place, that's what we're describing, right? And the two people sitting on the seat, and then one person's time is moving different from the other one. I'm just really looking forward to reading that. So Niladri, you can say that you have now one more follower, one more reader, and I'm also going to look forward to reading your other books.
Thank you, Sambit. Can I make a confession? If I'm allowed to.
Sorry?
Can I make a confession if I'm allowed?
Yes, sure.
I was developing a story, and Chitra knows about it. I think Danny also knows about it. I was developing a story, okay, and I was developing it in my head. I'm not a plotter, so I just everything in my head. And I was developing it for some time. It had to do with time and different realities and stuff like that, until Marvel came with this multiverse in phase 4 and completely screwed me. So damn you, Kevin Feige.
Sure. So congratulations to you, Niladri.
Thank you, Sambit. Thanks a lot.
And we're looking forward for many books from you.
It's the same thing. I'm looking forward to Sambit's next book. I read The Last Word, and I think I mentioned in my review also. I'm really looking forward
to it. I saw that.
There's a fluidity to Sambit's writing. He doesn't waste a lot of time in describing a scenario or a situation, yet it's not undercooked. It's really a fine balance and it's crafted.
Thank you.
You don't have to wait too long for Sambit's book, because he's already working on a fantastic concept. Yes. So we are going to build up the hype around it very soon. So all of those who are watching this,
know about it.
Watch this space for
You're not saying anything.
Okay. So now is the time for the next question for the giveaway. And I think many of you would know this. So I'll just pick on a first come first serve basis. It's a visual clue. You have to, I think if you've been following Niladri on Instagram and FB, you'd already know this. But this was Niladri's first pet, I guess. And so, and of course, this little fellow is an important part of his life. So what was his name? So if you have seen him in Niladri's Instagram feed, you'd be knowing his name. So any guesses? I didn't want him to miss your book launch, Niladri. So I included him as a part of this question. So if you know his name, please raise your hand. I think this is, I think only Danny will know this.
Yeah.
Okay, then Danny.
Okay, his name is Snowy.
Okay, so yeah, so that was Snowy. Very cute.
I knew it, but I thought, what if I'm wrong and I'll make a fool of myself? So between Snowy and Scooby, but then I realized Scooby is Chandrayan's pet. Snowy was like very obvious. So, but I knew it. Niladri.
Okay. I think Danny is getting most of the questions right. Niladri, क्या करना है?
Yes.
वो किसी को देना है, मुझे लग रहा है.
Nahi, I'm there. Huh?
Questions are all about
Oh no,
Niladri.
I need the book. I need the book.
Okay, she needs the
Yeah,
book.
yeah. And I need a signed copy, please.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
come to
exactly what's
Kolkata
up
for
for
that.
grabs. So
So-
for the
so
next
Niladri-
question, you have to really,
Okay, so one thing, Niladri, irrespective of who is the winner, I definitely want one signed copy of yours paperback. Okay, I'm going to the ebook, but I would love to have one signed copy. As a request from your reader, from your follower.
Done.
Okay, so since Danny is answering most of the questions, so let's know a little more about him.
Okay.
Dhruvajyoti Ray Chaudhary, or as he's known to his friends, Danny Ray Chaudhary, hails from Kolkata but is currently based in the Garden and Silicon City of India, Bangalore. Bachelor in Business Administration. His interests, however, lie in many creative pursuits such as playing the guitar and painting. He's also a movie buff and a cricket fan and enjoys binging on shows and watching cricket matches.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Chitra.
His friend, childhood friend, and all the highs and the lows and all the ups and the downs.
Yes.
We all witnessed it together.
Yes.
So how does it feel, Danny, to see him make it this far? And you have been a part of his writing journey.
Yes.
I'm sure he must have tortured you with his initial write-ups.
Yes.
So so I have heard that you have always been the first to download his books, whether you read or not, but you have always downloaded his books and bought his books and encouraged him in every way possible.
Yes, yes.
So we'd just like to know from you how you're feeling right now.
Yeah. So what I can tell you about him is the earlier part of, starting off his writing and all, because most of you guys will not know about it, because I was his childhood friend and a very close friend for many, many years, even now also. So what I remember from those days was that he really had a very interest in writing. And one thing I really liked about him was that at a very early age, he really liked reading newspapers, which I've never seen a guy in my school or any friends of mine who really liked reading newspapers. So it's a very shock to me that, some guy will really like reading newspapers those days. So now, slowly, he started telling about writing, and he used to write a lot of this Hindi poems. Okay. And since I used to play guitar and, we told, let's collaborate and let's make a song. And we think those songs will be a big hit. That time YouTube was not a thing. The Instagram was not a thing. So we thought we'll do something. Instagram had come. Yeah. YouTube was not a thing also. Yeah. So then what happened was I finished my schooling in Calcutta. Then I moved to Bangalore. Then he told me about Autumn Leaves, that he wanted to really write a book, and he was really passionate about it, of writing this book. And it was like those days, what used to happen at night, whatever the calls, the STD calls that used to happen was free at night. Okay. So we used to speak about this book, and he used to ask me that what is his interest lies in you, or he was taking that inspiration that what you should do in this situation, what will you do in that situation. So we used to have a lot of conversations at night about this book and all that. So I really used to think at that point of time he was very passionate about it. But today, after so many years, I'm very lucky to have such a friend who I have done, as a childhood friend, we'll do so many things, we like playing cricket or anything related. So I'm really happy that at this point of time in his life that he succeeded, and I really congratulate him for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I the only person whom I know, not now, before, like when I was in school, is him only, and we've still been those days, and we have still been friends even now. So I really appreciate that he's come from where, and where we are right now. So it feels like a different world altogether, a different time altogether right now. And I really feel happy and proud that my best friend, succeeded in this. because we always used to think, what is he going to do and what, but he was already interested in writing, and let it be anything, let it be poems or let it be anything related to writing. So that's what I can say.
There's quite an insight into Niladri's life.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you
but
something.
one thing I want to say that I didn't know about Niladri was that I've seen most of this creative circle videos that he wanted to become a cricketer. I never knew that. I knew that he was very much interested in playing cricket.
And and you knew how well I played also.
Yeah. He was very good in
I'll tell you an
batting.
incident about cricket, okay? About me and Dan. Danny is a good bowler. He's a very good bowler, and the less said about him as a batsman, the better. But Danny always knew how to get me out, because he sort of knew that I have a problem with balls that come in, and he had that thing. Used to his in swingers were very good. So one day we had a challenge that we would go to the nets and he would bowl 10 overs to me. If I get out once bowled, I would have to give him a treat of beer. If he doesn't, then he would have to treat me to beer. And at that time, used to wear a locket. It had a coin, an ancient coin that, it was expensive.
Indian 1 rupee.
Yeah, something
British coin. Yeah.
Old, yeah, very old. So Maharaja time coins, So he bowled 10 overs. He didn't get me out. He lost the locket, and he gave a treat of beer. So that's one incident. Yeah. But there is something with Danny. Okay, he can play the guitar damn well, and he has taught himself. He has never learned. He all the things that I talk about, this I like rock music, this and that. It all came from him. He's an encyclopedia when it comes to music, and so he learned the guitar and all that. So he wanted to make a song, and we made 2 songs. I still remember the lyrics of both of those songs. And
Then you're going to come with the guitar next time, and you're going to sing it for us.
I can't sing. I can just play.
Niladri will sing for you. Yeah. He sings really well. Really well.
Niladri, yeah. So do you mind me calling him by his name?
Drive out pests. Any kind of pests from the house, or you don't want neighbors to come to your house, you can just invite Niladri in and he can start his singing.
Yeah.
Or if you want someone to do, jugalbandi with your, gully dogs and all that.
Yeah. That's why our neighborhood was very quiet.
Yeah, our neighborhood was not quiet. As long as we were there, it was not quiet. But here's the thing.
Only us. It was only us.
Here is how we made the songs. Early in the morning, we never used to sleep. We used to get up at 3:30 in the morning and just go out. We never used to sleep. So early in the morning, it's raining. We're sitting in a chai ki tapri. Okay? And he's strumming the guitar and trying to write the song. That is how we made those songs. And
it rained the last night.
Yeah. And there's another incident. Okay. I used to write Shero Shairi a lot at that time. A lot. Okay. So, and there were text messages at that time, no WhatsApp. So I wrote something, and there was one line that said Tanhai ko hum sula na sake. Okay. And I sent it to Daddy at around 3 or 3:30 in the morning. 5 minutes later, I get a reply from him saying, Tanhai ko sona hai to so jaye, mujhe to sone de.
Yeah, but I need to confess one more thing is that when he was really interested in writing about this autumn leaves, so what used to happen was we used to speak a lot at night. We used to talk about everything, but the main topic used to end in autumn leaves. So what I used to do, I used to sleep like this. I used to keep the phone down. Oh, he's still talking. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good night. Bye. See you. That was used to happen. Sorry, man. Sorry. telling it to you.
I know that. Don't worry. Okay. So
since we're talking about, Niladri's life, let's have a question. Next question for the giveaway.
Yeah, if we still keep talking, it's gonna go for.
Yeah. So
night, how
we talked about cricket.
So, yeah.
Who is Niladri's favorite sports person? Preeti, big show of hands. Yes, Preeti. Yes, he can do it.
Dravid.
Again?
Rahul Dravid.
Rahul Dravid ki jai ho. So Niladri is a huge Rahul Dravid fan, and he was ecstatic when Rahul Dravid was appointed coach. So So yeah, so you've been
We
following
share
his
him.
social
We
media.
share a love.
Dravid written all on his social media profiles. So big Dravid fan. So yeah,
And
we
when we
team
were
has-
like, when Rahul Dravid was in his prime, so me and Dodo had the common topic. We used to talk about Rahul Dravid a lot. It used to be hours and hours about him.
It's
That's
Niladri.
how.
Niladri.
so
No, we both.
so he's just
Niladri.
spelt out your nickname. That was one of my questions, but since he's already so, would you like to be a little louder and
Am I not audible?
would you like to be a little louder and let everyone know about Niladri's nickname?
Oh, no one knew about your nickname?
His expression. Look at his expression. I know about his nickname, but
Oh, no
then
one knew.
but then as a writer, you're in the public eye and people would want to know
Oh, I
such adorable
Nobody wants
nicknames
to
you've
know.
been
Why am I being targeted on my own book launch?
see. The thing is that we are Bengalis, right? So in any Bengali household, every person has their main name, your actual name, and they have a nickname.
What is to you? You have a cool nickname, Danny. It's a
That
cool
that
name.
that you have to ask my brother when I was born. Yeah. So his nickname is Dodo. So and that's how I've been, speaking to him like since then. Yeah, that's how I talk to him, like call him. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's been there since for more what 20 plus years. Yeah,
Danny saying Niladri sounds really odd to me.
yeah, seriously, same. Even if you tell my name,
Do this.
it's
Dodo,
like,
mujhe tera book do do. No, that doesn't work.
Okay.
De Dodo would work, damn it.
दे दो.
You're
Yeah.
not getting it.
दो क्या होता है?
Do.
Okay. So since Chandrayaan is all about Dedo and Dodo, so Dodo, let's learn more about Chandrayaan. So Chandrayaan Gupta is a young author of psychological crime thriller fiction. He has written 100 plus articles and achieved XXX top writer status on Medium, where his primary areas of focus are mental health, books, and writing. When not writing, he attends to his duties as a law student at Amity University, Kolkata. His Radha Bose fiction trilogy has been a best-selling series on Amazon. So Chandrayaan, you've been quite well acquainted with Niladri's writing. So what influenced you to pick up his books? Have you read Beyond the Grey Line? How did you find it? And what's your favorite book from all that he's written?
Songs of Dusk. He knows this very well. He knows this very, very well. That was his first book that I wrote. I think it was 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, something like that. And after I read that, I thought he has another book collection of short stories about time and supernatural and mystery. And I'm fascinated with time as well. I don't understand it. I don't understand Einstein's theory of relativity too well, but I'm fascinated with time. So I picked up his novels, his short stories collection. And well, the first story was A Hole in the Wall, which I'll remember forever. Because I was reading it, and Songs of Dusk was a really poignant, nice, heartwarming, sometimes heart-wrenching, but mostly heartwarming collection of poems. I wasn't expecting this. So when I read Hole in the Wall, I kept thinking, he's not really going to go through with this, is he? And then he went through with this. And I mean, I just knew I had to read the rest of the stories because if my baby's comment was not a tip off, I'm a fan of dark stories. I write dark stories. I like to read anything psychological and which delves into the taboo part of the human mind no one really likes to talk about. So the Niladri stories, I read them around a year and a half ago. I'm sorry, I don't remember all of them. But from the ones that I do remember, all that I do remember is that I don't particularly remember his prose. All I remember is the scenes, because I had them in my mind. I mean, I visualized them in my mind. And there are very few authors who can do that, who can make me visualize what they're writing. And Niladri is definitely one of them. And his writing is, I mean, it's just you look at Niladri and you don't expect that he can write such dark stories, but then he does, and it's like, oh my God, I have a new favorite author. So his books were a really nice surprise. His short stories, and his other novel, Letters of Nine, they were really fantastic.
Thank you, thanks a lot. I mean, as I already said, I messaged Chandra, and we used to communicate on Twitter in those days. And I messaged Chandra, and after reading his first book, Birth of a Tour, that your first book is way better than what my first book was. And then he excelled in his writing in the second and third one. And I think the other day, I think a month back or 1.5 months back, he had posted the first chapter of his book, his new book, in the group. And
I've read it as well. It's brilliant.
man, please publish it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please finish it.
Yeah, I'm currently on the 7th chapter. No, I'm currently on 8th chapter, I think. 8th chapter, yes. I mean,
the second draft.
Yes, of the second, which will be the final draft. I'm not going to, man, it's tiring. I've
Yes.
already written it. I just want it out. Okay, done.
Please get it out as fast as you can.
Thank you,
Yes.
Chandran. That is quite insightful. And so moving on, let's come to the hottest property on Amazon right now, L.A. Nolan or Lee Nolan. So let's learn a little more about him. L.A. Nolan was born in Toronto, Canada, 1966. He was the first Canadian-born member of his family whose roots are set firmly in Liverpool. True to his Generation X stereotype, Nolan's restlessness eventually led him to settle in the Asian subcontinent. With India as his base of operations, Nolan joined a motorcycle club and crisscrossed the country with reckless abandon. After breaking several bones on a desolate mountainside in the Himalayas, Nolan returned to New Delhi and refocused on his true passion of storytelling. He now lives in Bombay with his wife and two very naughty motorcycles, Wilhelmina and Elvira. His debut novel, Blood and Brown Sugar, is currently trending on Amazon. So, Haley.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I'm thrilled to be here. I do have to point out just quickly, though, I'm a little disappointed in my introduction. You didn't mention that I'm an award-winning author. And as we all fully well know, I've recently won the Best Costume Award at the Creative Circles Bhutia. So I'm a little disappointed, Chitra, in that. I haven't read Beyond the Gray Line yet, but I do know that I'm going to absolutely love it. And certainly not just from the glowing reviews I've been hearing, but more instinctually. Like when you know immediately from watching a movie trailer that you're going to enjoy the movie, or when you read the blurb on a book and it's already got you hooked. I can just tell that this is going to be something that I'm going to enjoy thoroughly. I also know through conversations with Niladri that we connect on a few key things. Not the least of which is we both enjoy short stories very much, and I've gone on record as saying that while novels or books are great, but they're more like an extended romance. They're like a love affair, whereas you invest time in them, and a short story is more like a quickie in the bathroom. I mean, it's something that's it's immediately gratifying, and I think we both agree on that, and we really enjoy that medium of writing. The other thing is that we both staunchly agree on the theater of the mind, and that we find it far more terrifying than any sort of in-your-face gore or slasher type films or graphic violence. The theater of the mind is something that can truly twist your guts. And when I'm finished reading a story or a book, I like to be in a cold sweat. And I'm not gonna achieve that, or the book isn't gonna achieve that, at least with me, by things jumping out from behind a curtain, or somebody repeatedly stabbing somebody else in the forehead with a butcher knife. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. That worked, so it doesn't do it for me. The theater of the mind, get me where I live. You know, toy with my emotions, screw with my mind. That's where it's really gonna turn the key for me. And I can tell just by the way you've all been speaking about the book that that's exactly what Niladri does in this book. And I can't wait to get to it now. I'm gnashing at the bit. The other thing that assures me is the man himself. I've recently submitted, or he's recently worked on a novel of mine, a collection of short stories, ironically enough. And you may be thinking, well, okay, so what does editing, how does editing say, you know, the fact that he knows where to place a comma and you don't, you know, how does that assure you you're going to enjoy his writing? It had very little to do with his editing, but everything to do with his editor's notes. And when I read through them, I was astounded at how in tune with what I was trying to do he was. And it made me realize that he connected with what I was writing on a much deeper level than someone who was just a casual reader. He truly understood where he was coming from. I've run into, or I shouldn't say run into, I've outright butt heads with editors in the past, and have staunchly refused to allow them to change my work creatively. Go ahead and add a semicolon, but don't tell me that a clock can't hang dustily on the wall if I want it to hang on the wall dustily. Yet with Niladri, I completely trust everything that he had to say. And just the way that he presented the thoughts and his ideas for improvements on what I'd written, I know that what he's written is going to be absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to get my teeth into it, Niladri. Congratulations. I'm so glad that you've had the opportunity to re-release in paperback with a traditional publisher. I wish you nothing but success, my friend. And I can't wait to leave a big ass great review for you on Amazon.
Thanks a lot. If I might just add, working on Lee's book was not work. It was, if it was, I don't know, it was an experience. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but it happened with Lee's book. One of the stories, I think he knows which story I'm talking about, that I was sitting in my room alone at night working on it. And when the story ended, I clapped. It was so good. And Danny, I'll tell you something. You'll love that story. Being a rock fan, you know, the way we grew up, what we idolized, the people we idolized, you would love that story. I'm not giving away, no spoilers, but I mean, throughout the story, you wouldn't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
And you would think maybe it's something, you know, something to do with the French Revolution or something that, you know, some European, revolution that came. But then, you know, it's just in the last line of the story, with just one noun, he changes everything. And it's amazing. And again, like Beyond the Grey Line, I don't know what he's going to call that. He had a working title, something very much in tune with Chandrayaan, but I don't know whether he'll go ahead with that or not. But again, all the stories, it was so well thought out, so well elaborated within a short space of words, which short stories, you know, usually have 5,000 to 10,000 words, and they're going to tell a story, you know, in that much of words. It's really difficult to do that. But again, the construction of each story, I had very little to work on. And as an editor, sometimes it gets difficult to work on a book that's well written, because you have to do better than the writer, and the writer's already done such a great job. And if you don't do anything and if you send it back, the writer would say that, okay, you have not done any editing, and you'll be lynched because you have taken the money, but you have not done any work. But it really was amazing. Really was. I didn't have to change a lot. There were some things I had in mind which I put in comments, but I really didn't have to change a lot.
I think they've already seen from Blood and Brown Sugar and the excellent reception that it had.
By the way, Lee, I'm
the excellent writer, and all waiting for his short story collection, because that's a genre. I mean, that's a type of writing that we haven't seen from Lee yet. Although one of his stories, I think it was published in the Chandrayaan anthology, not Chandrayaan, but Chandrayaan anthology. So that's a book that went to the moon. So that's actually literally went to the moon. So one of his stories is on
that's
the
a book,
moon.
Chandran, when someone someone will yearn for you, that book will.
Okay, I'm interested. Send me the details of the work.
Yeah, sure. So that's a book that's literally gone to the moon. So
Yeah.
the Nili's story is in
Don't
that.
short sell yourself. Even Chitra is a part of that.
Yeah, I'm part of that.
But short stories.
I think some of us are. Okay. So thank you, Lee, for that excellent, description of Beyond the Grey Line and how you're waiting to read it. And I'm sure you will be in a cold sweat after you're done with it. So.
Not so much. I don't think so.
Okay, Preeti is next, but before that, let's have our next giveaway question, which is very interesting, and I think we can answer this. Niladri's cheeks are gonna go red, but then again, what should we do? Okay, identify these two munchkins. The one on the one in red is A, and the one on the right is B. So you have to identify both these cuties. So anyone? Okay, Samvit, Chandrayan. Okay, Samvit.
Niladri and Niladri.
Chandrayan.
It's a male child and a female child.
Okay, very well done, Chandrayan. Preeti.
Niladri and Niladri.
So let's look at that picture again. So both of you are correct, Samvit and Preeti. Both of these cuties are Niladri and Niladri. So.
Someone had this bright idea of dressing me up as a girl, but I kind of look cute and sexy and hot.
You had me convinced. Sexy and hot, you.
Come on.
Think of this child as a grown-up 25-year-old girl. And you would see what I'm talking about. The sex appeal is through the roof.
This is for all the pedophiles
I'm
in this
trying to get those images in my head now.
Imagine this. We're talking about a book that deals with time. Come on, open up your imaginations. Think of this child 25 years down the line. Waltzing to a Bollywood number, item song.
Ew.
Nora Fatehi would never get a job.
Why are you doing this to us? Okay.
I'm with you, Niladri. I can do that. I can picture it. I'm with you.
Yeah, see? Sci-fi authors, we can do that.
Of course, yeah. We travel in time, we can go back and forth.
Yeah, who said pedophiles all had to be male? They can be female too.
Wow, thank you.
Good point. But it's not pedophilia if the person has gone ahead in time and is 25 years later and she's one hot, girl, nice looking, beautiful.
I was going
You
for
are
cute.
lusting after yourself.
What have you done to my slide? Okay, I was going for cute and she's so cute and then you just, what is this?
My video froze for about a minute and I come back and you're talking about pedophile. What did I miss? How quickly things turn. I don't know. I'm just going to sit here quietly. You carry on.
Okay, what you missed was two photos of me and me. Chitra, please show me.
You want me to
Yeah.
see? Niladri can't get enough of those pictures. Wait, just.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
You're oddly proud of those pictures.
He's proud. Wait. Okay, this is for Lee again. We're asked to identify these two munchkins and Samvit and
They're both you?
Yep,
Hey, you're hot as a chick.
that's my point. See, we're in tune.
I think Chandrayaan hates kids so much that he just can't get past it. That's his problem.
We haven't heard Danny's opinion on it, even though I know what is Danny's opinion on it. What Danny's opinion, but still.
Yeah.
It.
I remember
you open your mouth, brother. This is live on YouTube.
No, I remember you, the red shirt one. I've never seen you wearing never imagined you also wearing like a dress or a frock.
What, at that time you were also more or less the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe you can dress up sometime for Danny. Let's
You
take
didn't know that about? He's one of your closest friends. You didn't know that at night he likes to go home and slip into like a skirt and a tube top?
No. But yeah, we both of us as a child, we both were pretty good looking.
Yep, we were.
Yeah.
but
still
Danny was always better looking. He's still better looking.
Thank you.
No, it was difficult growing up with this guy because all the girls used to go to him. They would call me, talk to me for 40 minutes, and then say, "Where is Danny? Give me his number." That happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a long time back.
You would give girls my number, and I would talk to them throughout the night as Danny while he would be sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was just
fun. To hear
it was tough to grow up with him because all the girls went to him. We weren't left with nothing. It was all him.
I hope that's changed.
Bloody
okay.
Yeah.
So Preeti, you're next. Let me just quickly share my screen. Just quickly.
Preeti the last.
So Preeti Nayak is a writer, poet, and author of the upcoming thriller Rakshak series Book 1, Rakshak and the Scarred Roses. A professionally trained architect and urban designer, she also teaches architecture and humanities at leading institutions. A passionate traveler, she takes the road less traveled and collects stories from every place. In a career spanning over 2 decades, she has delved deep into histories and stories that create places and cultures. This vast experience inspired her stories with a special affinity towards conspiracies and mysteries. Her debut novel, Rakshak series, Book 1, Rakshak and the Scarred Roses, is a teenage detective mystery with a dollop of history, conspiracy, and crime. It's available on Amazon and shortly in bookstores near you. She's a devoted fan of authors Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Agatha Christie, Roald Dahl, Jeffrey Archer, Dan Brown, William Sidney Portner, and J.K. Rowling. So, Preeti? So you've read everything.
Just 1 second before Preeti says something. Preeti, I did not know that 5 of our favorite authors match.
And Rahul Dravid also. So.
Apart from J.K. Rowling and I haven't read much of Roald Dahl, but and J.K. Rowling, no. But apart from that, yeah, everything.
Yes, they do. So for me, I came to know about Niladri from Chitra, actually, because I was looking at someone to edit my book, and I loved Chitra's book. And so, and I'd also seen this interaction, this live session between Niladri and Chitra once on Instagram. I was impressed by the questions he was asking about his perspective. And then she referred me to him and we spoke. And then there was this instant connection, like from everything from Rahul Dravid to our favorite authors, like as he discovered now, to many other, what do you say, that love for mystery and stories with a twist. I distinctly remember being very happy after finishing the first book, Letters of Nine, the first book by him that I read. And I read it at one stretch, started and I finished continuously. I think it was around 2 or 3 in the night when I finished it. And I was damn happy because he had managed to fool me. As an author, I pride myself in kind of figuring out who the killer is or what the suspense is. But then Niladri, he actually topi laga diya. That's the right word. And I was very happy. And I slept very happily because it was it was amazing. So, and after that, I couldn't get enough of his stories, and I read Beyond the Grey Line. And there's another thing about Niladri's writing, especially, even though it's there is a lot of what do you say, suspense in it, mystery in it. He has the knack to catch emotions also, and his stories are all very emotional. At they're deeply emotional at a level, So from there, that kind of tugs at your soul and plays with your brain. So, and the suspense plays with your brain. So it's like a complete mix. Now, even in Beyond the Grey Line, there are stories like The Visitor, then The Mother, and Aisha. But in the Kindle version, it's written as Anisha. But I believe it's Aisha. Yeah.
Anisha.
अनीशा पर वो कैरेक्टर का नाम आयशा लिखा है अंदर बुक में.
वो एक वर्जन में थोड़ा सा मिस्टेक हो गया था, but it's Anisha.
Okay, then Anisha, yes, that book, that story, and even Prisoner 969. No, yes, so somewhere there was this very deep emotional connect also. So he's a complete package, and he's a gem waiting to be kind of discovered. And I hope that's done soon, because yeah, he's top of the line, and he deserves to be up there amongst all our favorite authors. So I'm going to change that bio and write his name also. So it'll be good fun when some people see. My book is not out as yet. That was for some other book that I had written. I copy pasted it for Chitra today, but it's yet to come out. I don't know when it will. Niladri predicts 2026. I have a very horrible feeling it might be 2026 also, because of many things happening nowadays. But yeah, I'm hoping it does come out in 2022 sometime. And yeah, so in my author bio, there will be Niladri Mitra, and he will also have edited my books. I'm very happy at the whole.
The day Preeti's book is completed, we will have a party.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
हम लोग गंगा
We
जल
will
से
all have
नहा
a
के party
party. Yes, we'll all have a big party. It should be a Zoom party.
But again, Preeti's book also, I'm editing it, and like Suman's book, I'm taking my time with it, because it needs, it has so many layers. It's a very different story, and the story that's really difficult also to write. I can understand why she's taking the time to put it together, because it has
Needs
real
to be
elements
factually correct.
in a fictionalized setting, and there are lots of characters with different motives, and she's telling a story of someone, a figure of history, who has not really been explored and who should be explored, because the story that she has is absolutely fascinating. So all the best, Preeti. I hope we can complete your book before 2026.
Thank you. And thank you all. So we have had some fantastic authors with us. We have had Danny, but there are still some people who missed it, and some of them aren't there with us today. And in Niladri's life, they have been very important. So from the Creative Circle, we wanted to have a small tribute for them, because they should be there in the book launch as well. So I know this is quite an emotional moment for you, Niladri, because
Thank you.
yeah, because I guess they would also want to be a part of your book launch, and they were all there when you were writing Autumn Leaves, but you have reached a milestone in your writing career, and I really hope wherever they are proud of you.
Those were my parents, my uncle, my brother. Unfortunately, they're not here anymore. They're not in this world. But actually, uncle had read all the stories of Beyond the Grey Line, and I used to give him the stories. As I used to write one, I used to give him. He's like, you write too difficult, too complicated stories. Just write something simple. It's I'm 70 years old. I'm suffering for Alzheimer's. It's too difficult for me to digest all this. But yeah, he read all the stories. So, and Ma, of course, she still is an inspiration. Danny knew her personally for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ma was somebody.
Very special woman. She anything afraid or anything. She was a very inspirational woman. Can you?
Ma was something. Yeah, it's not because
Yes,
she's my mother.
I miss. Yeah, she was also like a mother for me, and I really do miss her. Even we still speak about your mom. Yeah.
And we miss her food.
Yeah. So I'm around. No, I'm your brother. I'll always be there for you, man. And congratulations on your book.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Means a lot. Thanks for coming. Again, means a lot. I mean, I can understand how out of place Daddy was feeling in a company of authors. But thanks, man. Thanks for doing it. Thanks, Preeti.
Yeah,
again.
always there for you.
Someone somewhere, Chandrayan, Shalini also, she had to leave a bit early. Pushan also, he has work. And a couple of people couldn't join. They texted me. I wish they could have, but that's how it goes. And by the way, this was TCC Community Meet Edition 7. Be happy. No, we'll have our community meet in a few days.
Yeah, of course, we'll be having our community meet. You can check out the previous episodes on our channel. Thank you everyone who joined in, and you can always, replay this telecast on YouTube. And please go read Beyond the Grey Line, because it's magical, it's intriguing, it's scary, it's full of suspense and mystery, and you wouldn't want to miss this one, because every story has a different flavor that feels yet so familiar. So please go read Beyond the Grey Line. It's being published by Ukiyoto. It's already available on Amazon. Read the Kindle version, get yourself a paperback, and we'll be coming up with more exciting book launches, community meets, and more exciting content. So thank you everyone for joining in. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.